Good afternoon, everyone. Today is 4 days into the solar eclipse, and I wanted to go over this for a long time, but our camera broke, and then the new camera we couldn't figure a certain part out. It wouldn't work. So here we are, only 4 days to the solar eclipse. The solar eclipse is a sign, and it is a sign that times are changing. Let's go to Genesis 1 to see what the signs in the sky are for. Okay, Genesis 1:14. And Yah said, "Let there be lights in the firmament of heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and for years." So they are for signs, seasons, days, and years. We can tell when the new day starts, when the day is over. In the evening time is the new day. It's not at midnight. So we know by how many times the sun circulates the earth, that's a year, etc. But it also says they're for signs. Those are signs, and we're going to have a solar eclipse in 4 days. Here is a map. I don't know if you can see it very good on camera, but it's going to go over the United States, and you've pretty much heard about it, and you've probably had a lot of thought about it. But I just want to go over this important event, and that it's a sign. It's a sign that things are about to change. When do you think these Revelation prophecies were going to happen? Well, they happen in the latter day. So the Roman ecclesiastical power has been ruling the earth through times and laws. You may not think that by keeping a certain calendar or keeping another person's calendar that it would have any effect on you. This is the Yah's calendar. This has the days according to the sky, what's written in the sky. Well, let's just say we were to have an EMP attack. How would you know what day it is? Well, you know by the cycle of the moon, the day, etc. The Roman ecclesiastical power has great power over you right now, or so they think. See, really, all this exposing of the Catholic Church and their pedophilia, their orgies that they got arrested for, they were having orgies, gay orgies. The reason why all this is coming out is because it's never been an accident. Ecclesiastical Rome calls themselves a religion, but they are not. They are actually just a continuation of pagan Rome. But to fool the people, they have told them that it's a religion. And really, this entity, the Catholic entity, is a governmental system, and you can tell this by what is called the UCC. Now, where did I put that statement? Okay, I thought it was here. Maybe it is. Yeah, the UCC is the Uniform Commercial Code, and you can look it up. It's a private international law and is owned by UNIDROIT, which is owned by the Vatican in Rome, Italy. They make all the laws for Vatican law, commercial law, banking laws, etc. Slavery laws, and selling you on the market as a commodity. So you are basically, to them, and we'll read that Revelation later, to them you are just something to be sold on the market. And this sign that we're having is from Yah. He owns the earth, and he's getting ready to turn over the earth. And you can read that in Isaiah 24. Let's see if I can find Isaiah. Every time I'm on camera, all of a sudden I can't find anything. Isaiah 24. Behold, the Yah maketh the earth empty, and maketh it waste, and turneth it upside down, and scattereth abroad the inhabitants thereof. And when you look in Revelation 18, it's talking about Babylon is fallen, is fallen. This says, And it shall be as with the people, so with the priest, as with the servant, so with his master, as with the maid, so with her mistress, as with the buyer, so with the seller, as with the lender, so with the borrower, As with the taker of usury, so with the giver of usury to him. The land shall be utterly emptied and utterly spoiled, for the Yah has spoken this word. So we know that the Bible says that there's going to be a time of trouble such as never was. Everybody gets scared in the Christian world because they're afraid of what Rome is going to do to them. They're afraid of the Sunday law. But really, the ones that should be afraid is the Catholic Church and all their institutions, which includes their societal institutions, their banking institutions, so it goes down from religious, governmental, societal, economical, commercial, judicial, financial, educational, medical. They're all under the Vatican. They're all under Catholic Roman authority because they use the UCC laws to govern all these things. And so they pretend that they have authority from heaven, but they do not, and they are not a religion of Jesus Christ, as they say. Let me give you an example of when Pope Leo X said, admitting that they use Jesus as a front. They're what you call occult. Like, they're not revealing who they really are. They're occultists. Not until you move yourself all the way to the highest ranks of the Catholic Church do you realize that they worship Lucifer. And they have satanic rituals using sacrifices and children, and they buy children for these rituals. They use their orphanages for rituals. So that has come up. We found it recently, was it in Ireland, where they found a grave with all these children underneath a Catholic institution. So what I was saying about Pope Leo, he says, quote, "It has served us well, this myth of Christ." So see, they've used Christ as the front. They're an occult religion. They're pagan. They have pagan origins. And I'm going to read to you these quotes from their own people and from historians. It says, "It is interesting to note how often our church has availed herself of practices which were in common use among pagans. Thus it is true in a certain sense that some Catholic rites and ceremonies are a reproduction of those of pagan creeds." This was from the Externals of the Catholic Church, Her Government, Ceremonies, Festivals, Sacramentals, and Devotions by John F. Sullivan, page 156, published by P.J. Kennedy, New York, 1942. And this next one is from the Story of Catholicism, page 37. It said, "It has often been charged that Catholicism is overlaid with many pagan incrustations. Catholicism is ready to accept that accusation and even to make it her boast. The great god Pan is not really dead. He is baptized." The Story of Catholicism, page 37. So they say the great god Pan. That's not our Father in heaven who they're talking about. Here's another one by Cardinal Gibbons in Faith of Our Fathers, 1917 edition. It says, "The penetration of the religion of Babylon became so general and well known that Rome was called the New Babylon." So this is significant because we're going to read Revelation, and when it talks about Babylon is fallen, is fallen. This is a signal, the solar across the United States, because see, you don't realize that this United States was a place for people to escape persecution from the Catholic Church. They put out the Edict of 1492 that if you didn't become Catholic, you'd be killed. And personally, my family name is in a Catholic church in the basement where they did persecution and torture, and our name is there. That is one of the places that they found our last name, that people had been persecuted. So these are my great-great-great-grandparents that, because they kept the truth, they were Hebrews, they were keeping the law of Moses, they were killed. Because read, you can go to timesandlaws.com and look up the Edict of 1492, and it will show you that the reason why they hated the Jews was because they kept the law of Moses. That is in another video, I think. Okay, so here's another of their statements about being pagan. Okay, in order to attach to Christianity great attraction in the eyes of nobility, the priests adopted the outer garments and adornments which were used in pagan cults. So they're trying to make themselves look like religious by wearing these pagan garments, so that in the eyes of nobility, the noble people would think something great of them. And so they just wore pagan garments. Well, you can still see these people wearing the Dagon hat, the Catholic pagan outfit of a fish head, Dagon the fish. So they're telling you outright by what they do and everything that they stand for that they're still pagan, a pagan religion worshiping satanic gods, because that's not the true Yah. So here's another one written by a professor at Harvard University, and it's from Religious Tradition and Myth, Dr. Edwin Goodenough, professor of religion. It says, the church did everything it could to stamp out such pagan rites, but had to capitulate and allow the rites to continue with only the name of the local deity changed to some Christian saint's name. So when you think of Saint Valentine's Day, what was the original pagan god that they were worshiping? Well, we do know that Christmas, December 25th, after the winter solstice, that the day is the birth of Tammuz, a pagan god, and that's why they do the tea. So they're putting a mark on yourself underneath pagan gods. This in Stanley's History, page 40, it says, the popes filled the place of vacant emperors at Rome, inheriting their power, their prestige, and their titles from paganism. And so all this is a false religion, and all these churches are underneath it. You may say, well, I'm not Catholic. Well, if you're keeping Sunday as your day of worship, then you're still under them. They have a lot of, you can go to my website for the Catholic, what the Catholic Church says, and they say that Sunday is their mark of authority. Okay, so what I want to read to you, because this solar sign is important, we need to know that Joel 2 is depicting part of this, what's about to happen. It says, sanctify ye a fast, call a solemn assembly, gather the elders and all the inhabitants of the land into the house of Yah your Yil, and cry unto the Yah, alas, for the day of Yah is at hand, and as a destruction from the Almighty shall it come. So the day of the Lord, you've heard that. That's talking about the last day, Joel 1 and 14 and 15. And it's depicting a gathering, a solemn assembly. When you know the language of the feast days, you know that when they say, sanctify ye a fast, call a solemn assembly, that is at a holy feast day. And we know that from the solar eclipse, it is 40 days until the fast of the atonement, which the atonement is a solemn assembly day for all his people. So if you call yourself a follower of the Yah in the heavens, the one and only Yah, the Yahshua, that's his family name, then you have to keep these feasts, and you have a 40-day warning. And so there is a place which he chooses to place his name, and if you're interested, write us below and we will tell you. But you've got 40 days for this solemn assembly. It says, blow ye the trumpet in Zion, and sound an alarm in my holy mountain. Let all the inhabitants of the land tremble, for the day of the Yah cometh, for it is nigh at hand. A day of darkness and of gloominess, a day of clouds and of thick darkness. As the morning spread upon the mountain, a great people and a strong, there hath never been the like, neither shall be any more after it. This is what he's calling for. He's calling for the 144,000 to gather, and they will be gathering. And there will be a strong people set in battle array. They shall run like mighty men, they shall climb the wall like men of war, and they shall march every one on his ways. and they shall not break their ranks. In other words, there won't be somebody stepping forward, doing something on their own accord. They're going to all be of one mind. They're going to see eye to eye, because they're going to understand that the law of Moses was not abolished, and we're bringing back the earth under the dominion, the first dominion that was given to Adam and Eve. And I think I have that quote. I think it's Micah 4:7 maybe, but it's Micah, and I can go to that in just a little bit. I'll write myself a note for Micah to look that up. But what I want to get to is that there's a 40 days before this happens. What we're seeing here is that the earth shall quake. This is in Joel. It says, the earth shall quake before them, the heavens shall tremble, the sun and moon shall be dark, and the stars shall withdraw their shining. So this mighty gathering, and this is in Joel 3:11-17, it says, assemble yourselves, come all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down. Now, am I saying this is going to happen right away? No, this is a time frame. There's going to be 7 years here, and we don't know if it's going to be what exactly at this time, but we're saying that you're going to start seeing things change, because Yahshua himself says the kingdom of Yah comes without observation. So you may be like, whoa, we had the eclipse and nothing happened. Well, you don't know that nothing's happening. You just don't see it yet. So it's a sign, like when you're supposed to have a party and the party is at 7 p.m. and people start gathering like at 8 or 9, and then the party really starts happening after that. So it's just a time is set that no longer the Vatican and their people are going to be allowed to fake everybody out and give their authority for everything. They basically run every single system. They run the school systems. You can go to Jesuit.org and see the connection to the United Nations and the 2 programs underneath educational. It says No Child Left Behind, which that was in the Bush era. And then now it has Common Core, which we know that Common Core basically means keep everybody dumbed down. 2 + 2 = 5. And also here in Austin, we're outside of Austin, in Austin, they were just having a meeting the other day where they're trying to bring into the 4-year-olds and 5-year-olds sex education, telling the children if they feel like a boy or a girl or whatever, they're whatever they are. But they were showing the pictures that are in this little book that they're showing the children, and they have people having sex, cartoon people teaching 4-year-olds and 5-year-olds. So this is just showing you how far into corruption the schools and education are under the Catholic Church. They're even telling them that how to give consent to have sex. This is in the education platforms, and I can, if you want to see that video, I would be glad to let you know where that video is. It was just put up yesterday on InfoWars. So you can see that that's about to happen. That's what they want to happen in the schools. Well, Yah's fed up with all this. This is a Catholic agenda to make everybody sexual, because in the pagan Roman institutions, they believed that having sex with, like men having sex with boys was normal. And they would have a partner, in 7 and 8 and 9-year-olds as their partners. So the other thing about the Jesuits and their education, you can look it up in Georgetown University, and you can look up history of the Greeks and the Romans, and it talks about their practices, their sexual practices. And that's why Yah is fed up, because with these practices and what happened when Obama was in this country that was supposed to be set up for his people, and now has turned it over completely to transgenders and lesbians and gays. And that's why the country is where it's at, because they have gone back from keeping the law of Yah. And the law of Yah, the law of Moses, that's never been abolished, because he's even Yahshua himself says, the heaven and the earth may pass away, but my word shall never pass away. So you can never say that the law of Moses was abolished. So the education system is all set up to bring you into complete apostasy and into going against nature. Man and woman were created to fit together perfectly and be in marriage and procreate. And so everything has its order. All the laws that Yah wrote, they have an order and a reason. And when you go against the laws, you ruin your body, your mind. Whenever you're sinning, your mind and your whole body follows, and you're depressed and you're causing sickness to your own body, because your body was created as a wonderful creation, that even the thing that you put on your skin, like this linen, it can read that this is healthy for the skin. So it's okay that it's on my skin. And if you're wearing rayon or any other thing, the body knows that this is a toxin and it's causing me not to be able to breathe. My little air, everything that's about the skin, how it picks up solar light to give it energy, etc. Everything has a law, and it all came from the law that Yah spoke to Moses, and he said, put this in a book and put it in the ark so that it will be a witness. Anytime there's a problem, if you want to know if this is good or if this is against the law, you can pull this book out, read it, and say, oh, okay, this is how we're supposed to do farming. This is how we're supposed to clothe ourselves. This is what we're supposed to eat. We're not supposed to eat a dead animal that's been dead and then eat it, because it's already going through the decomposure system. So see, everything was written for our benefit. The law of Yah, the law of Moses was there for our benefit. And Yah's coming back. This is a sign. The solar eclipse is a sign that things are about to change. We're going to read Amos 8:9. It says, and it shall come to pass in that day, saith the Yah, that I will cause the sun to go down at noon, and I will darken the earth in a clear day. So this is what we're talking about. If you read Revelation 18, this is to let you know that the earth shakes, the moon, the sun and the moon are darkened, the stars withdraw their shining. This is talking about the stars that you consider people in high places that you look up to for, you know, information or your education or your banking system or your lawyers or your preachers. Those stars that you consider light people that give you information are going to go out. He has to have a slaughter of what would you call people that are against his law. They're apostates, or they do abominations, or all this has to fall. So Revelation 14:8 says, and there followed another angel saying, Babylon is fallen, that great city, because she made all nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. See, Babylon, most of what they're doing may seem like something else, but it really goes back to their sexual practices, and everything is based on that. Whenever you watch the Pope and they have put his speech, there is a, it's called reverse speech, but there is a phenomenon that happens when you're speaking forward. You can also sometimes tell what they're thinking in their mind by playing it backwards, and they actually use this in the CIA to know whether you're telling the truth or not. But every time the Pope speaks, he's saying something about sex backwards, or about some practice that they do. You can watch those on John Oates. He has a channel that shows the reverse speech of the Pope, so look that up. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and has become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. That's why there's so much hate against Christians, because they have become a hateful bird. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her. All the kings of the earth, they go to see the Pope, and he tells them what to do. And you have Microsoft, Google, Facebook, all doing the Pope's bidding by watching over you. They watch what you say, they watch what you put on YouTube. That's why YouTube is shutting down channels that are revealing the truth about pedophilia. and that are revealing the truth about all the false flags and the hoaxes. Those channels, anybody that puts a channel up and speaks against evil, YouTube is starting to censor, and they've closed down many accounts. So everyone has committed themselves to be a part of this Pope system, this Vatican system, this false government over the earth. And the kings have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. So by making these alliances with her, they get money, they get prestige, they get whatever they want, as long as they make this confederation with the Vatican. And this says, and the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her shall bewail her and lament for her when they shall see the smoke of her burning. She's going to come down, folks, and she's going to be brought to her end. It says, and the merchants, alas, alas, that great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come. So the judgment is coming. And the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her, for no man buyeth their merchandise anymore. So the stock market, everything that has to do with the Vatican, their selling of souls, their selling of everything, comes to its end. Because it says, for no man buyeth their merchandise anymore. The merchandise of gold and silver and precious stones, and of pearls and fine linen and purple and silk and scarlet and all thyine wood and all manner vessels of ivory and vessels of precious wood and brass and iron and marble and cinnamon and odors and ointments. Everybody goes to the medical system for their ointments. If they have diabetes that's caused by Monsanto's glyphosates, they go to the very people who are part of the Vatican, the medical system. You have two snakes around the symbol that tells you who's in charge. All those going to them for your healing is over. Frankincense and wine and oil. Oil is, in the Bible, it's considered truth. So people are going to them for their truth. Fine flour is how you eat. And the Bible says, man does not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of Yah. So they're pretending to be God, and their oil is a false oil. Their fine flour is false. Their wheat is GMO. And the beast and the sheep and the horses and the chariots and slaves and souls of men. See, they sell souls of men and slaves. You may not even know you're a slave, but you are a slave by having a number and by all your labor. You have to be taxed on it. You have to give the IRS your money, and the IRS is connected to London. 60% goes to London and 40% goes to the Vatican, or it's 40 and 60 the other way around. But the Vatican gets your IRS money, and they do all manner of trade in whatever you see in the world today. Everything. You have to register your car, register your boat. Everything is registered with the Bank of London. So you paid for it, but they own it. Okay, and they cast dust on their heads and cried, weeping and wailing, saying, alas, alas, that great city wherein were made rich all that had ships in the sea by reason of her costliness. For in 1 hour is she made desolate. Rejoice over her, thou heaven, O ye holy apostles and prophets, for Yah hath avenged you on her. See, finally, all this comes to the end, and Yah's children get vengeance. And a mighty angel took up a stone like a great millstone and cast it into the sea, saying, thus with violence shall the great city Babylon be thrown down, and shall be found no more at all. So they are going to get violence on their head. So this is a time where man-made horrible systems are coming down. It all crashes because they have made the earth their profits from it, when this was not the way the earth was supposed to be. It was supposed to be a Garden of Eden where Yah's people had safety and peace and salvation by meeting with Yah every holy day and rejoicing together as a family. So this is coming to us in this last days, is this kingdom that is talked about in Daniel 2:44. See if I have that on this paper, or if I should go to my Bible. Daniel 2:44, let's go there. It's verse 33, 34, and 44, and 45. Daniel 2. It says, thou sawest till that a stone, 34, was cut out without hands, which smote the image upon his feet that were of iron and clay, and break them to pieces. See, if you know this symbol of Daniel, you know about the 4 sections, and the last one is the ecclesiastical and there's 2 legs, and that was ecclesiastical Rome and pagan Rome. But see, that just shows they're in the same time period. That's happening simultaneously. Pagan Rome and ecclesiastical Rome are happening simultaneously at the same time. Then you get to the bottom of the 10 toes, and this is the time we're in, the time of the 10 toes, and that's the 10 kings that we're going to talk about in a little bit in Revelation. But this says, then was the iron, the clay, the brass, the silver, and the gold broken to pieces together, and became like the shaft of the summer threshing floors. And the wind carried them away, that no place was found for them. And the stone that smote the image became a great mountain and filled the whole earth. A mountain represents a church organization. You can find that in Isaiah. If you have any questions about anything that we say, everything has a scripture that tells you that this is true. So they become it fills the whole earth, Yah's kingdom. So he's about to set up this kingdom. And in the days of these kings, that 10 toes, shall the Yah of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed, and the kingdom shall not be left to other people, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms. So see, this is the falling of Babylon. It breaks it into pieces and consumes all these kingdoms that all these kings were doing merchandise with them. And it shall stand forever. This kingdom, the kingdom of the first dominion that's talked about in Micah, coming back to the daughter of Zion and the flock, the little flock, which that's what we are today, this little flock. It shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms. When you look up that word consume in the Hebrew, it means to bring it to its end. There will be no evil kingdom. And it shall stand forever. Thou sawest till that a stone was cut out with hands, which smote the image on the feet and break them into pieces. Okay, so read Daniel 2, 34, 35, 44, and 45. And here's the Micah verse that I was telling you earlier that I was going to bring you to. It says, and I will make her that halted a remnant. So he's going to make a remnant. And her that was cast far off a strong nation. See, they've been ruling so long, but Yah's true children that have been cast off, that these haters in this evil kingdom, they hate Yah's true children, so they cast them off and they won't let them have their freedom. Those who were cast off, it says, and her that was cast off far off a strong nation. So we become a strong nation. And the Yah shall reign over them in Mount Zion. So there's not going to be the Pope ruling and reigning over us. It's going to be our Father in heaven, even forever. So from here on out, when he takes down Babylon, Yah rules the whole earth again. It says, and thou, O tower of the flock, the stronghold of the daughter of Zion, unto thee shall it come, even the first dominion. The kingdom shall come to the daughter of Jerusalem. So Yah is about to bring this to pass. Micah 4, 12 and 13 says, but they know not the thoughts of Yah, neither understand they his counsel. These are people out there. They don't understand that this is going to come to pass. They're so bold that they're having, that George Soros is paying for both sides, the so-called white supremacist side, and also the Black Lives Matter and the Antifa. If you look at everything, and you understand how it's working, they're causing friction between two sides to bring this country to a civil war. And so it says, but they know not the thoughts of Yah, neither understand they his counsel. For he shall gather them as sheaves into the floor. Arise and thresh, O daughter of Zion, for I will make thine horn iron. A horn in prophecy means power. So he's going to give us such hard power that will be able to knock down the evil kingdoms. And I will make thy hoofs brass. So a beast that has hooves, that's not only their regular hooves but brass, because it's harder than their own hoof. These symbols are trying to tell you how much power the daughter of Zion will have. And thou shalt beat in pieces many people, and I will consecrate their gain unto the Yah, and their substance unto the Lord of the whole earth. So the Roman Catholic satanic government comes crumbling down at Yah's appointed time. And this, there's a 7-year period when it goes, the eclipse goes from one side to the other in 4 days, but then it comes from Texas on up. And so that's going to mark a second eclipse in 7 years. That comes a mark of an X over the United States. So there's it's going to be earth shattering. It's a great shaking. Babylon is going to fall. This shows you the Pope has no power. This is why the pedophilia and gay drug sex orgies at the Vatican have come to light. The Church of Rome's sins are out. This takes their power away because people are seeing that they're actually a satanic agency. And we are going to be exalting the standard of the law of Moses and pouring forth the straight truths. We're not going to be afraid to say the truth, that either you come under Yah's government, in which he uses his timepiece in the skies to set the government, to set the calendar, to set his feast. These feasts and the calendar have been here since this earth was created, and the Catholic Church has sought to change times and laws. You can read that in Daniel 7:25. So we just want you to know that Yah's going to have a special people, and they're going to be so bright. The truth that they have is going to be so bright. They're going to be like stars on the earth. And one of the things that Ellen G. White says, who she was a prophet, she says, in the last solemn work, few great men will be engaged. They are self-sufficient, independent of Yah, and he cannot use them. The master has faithful servants who, in the shaking testing time, will be disclosed to view. They are precious ones now hidden, who have not bowed the knee to Baal. They have not had the light which has been shining in a concentrated blaze upon you, but it may be under a rough and uninviting exterior that the pure brightness of a genuine Christian character will be revealed. In the daytime we look toward heaven but do not see the stars. They are there, fixed in the firmament, but the eye cannot distinguish them. In the night we behold their genuine luster. So just want to say this, that when this happens, it's like night, and you're gonna see stars. If you're in the ribbon, you're gonna see stars. And one of the things that the Farmer's Almanac said was this: for sheer visceral impact, a total solar eclipse is not even remotely comparable to a lunar eclipse, or even major auroral displays. A solar totality stands alone. If you are in the right place, it creates darkness in daytime along a 140-mile ribbon of the earth. The brightest stars come out in midday, but not as you might presume. Right here, he's almost being a prophet. The brightest stars are about to come out. During totality, they appear in seasonal reverse. But the important part, it says, the brightest stars come out in midday, but not as you might presume. Okay? So here's another quote. At this time, the gold will be separated from the dross. True godliness will be clearly distinguished from the appearance and tinsel of it. Many a star that we have admired for its brilliance will then go out in darkness. You know, all those leaders of like the Seventh-day Adventist Church that were supposed to be giving truth, but they don't. They go out. Those who have assumed the ornaments of the sanctuary but are not clothed with Christ's righteousness will then appear in the shame of their own nakedness. Review and Herald, November 20, 1913. Among earth's inhabitants scattered in every land, there are those who have not bowed the knee to Baal. Those of you who are not bowing to these pagan gods and keeping these pagan feasts like Christmas, Valentine's, Easter. It says, like the stars of heaven, which appear only at night. So see, you have to understand this in a prophetic sense. It's going to be dark. It's darkness over the whole earth. People don't understand what the true days are. The feast days, when we're supposed to have holy worship. They're keeping maybe Saturday, maybe Sunday, but that's it. They don't understand. So, like the stars of heaven, which appear only at night, these faithful ones, there are faithful ones, will shine forth when darkness covers the earth and gross darkness the people. Yah has in reserve a firmament of chosen ones that will yet shine forth amidst the darkness, revealing clearly to an apostate world the transforming power of obedience to his law. What law? Not just the 10 Commandments, but the law of Moses that was spoken by our Father to Moses. They will shine as lights in the world. The darker the night, the more brilliantly will they shine. Prophets and Kings 188. So Philippians 2:15 says, that ye may be blameless and harmless, the sons of Yah, without rebuke, in the midst of a crooked, perverse nation, among whom ye shine as lights in the world. This is what we're looking for, folks. This total eclipse is a sign, and it's a prophetic time period beginning. Are you going to be in the Yah's kingdom? Are you going to be looking for his kingdom? Are you going to give up your life and gain eternal life? Do you need to know when these feast days are? We have a calendar that shows the feast days. You have 40 days from the solar eclipse until the Day of Atonement. And if you're not keeping his feast days, you need to learn how to go to timesandlaws.com and start doing your research. This is a serious time to be on. It says, come out of her, my people. Come out of their systems, come out of their education. Thinking that education is going to give you something, it's not. And we know that the elites want to bring down the United States, maybe with an EMP attack, with EMFs, or however. You want to be in Yah's kingdom. You want to go to where he's going to have a safe place for you. Write us a note or make a comment down below if you want to get a hold of us. Go to timesandlaws.com and may you see the solar eclipse. Hopefully you will go to see it with your own eyes. And you will see that the Catholic system is about to come to its end. Let me read you just in closing what happens to them in Revelation. It says, and the 10 horns which thou sawest are kings. We were talking about the 10 toes. Well, it's these 10 kings that gave their power to the Catholic Church. Well, it says, these have one mind and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. These shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them, for he is the Lord of lords and the King of kings. And they that are with him, those that are with the Yah-Shah, because that's what his name means. Lord of lords and King of kings is Yah-Shah. That's the true name. It's not Jesus, it's not Yahshua, it's Yah-Shah. It says, and he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest where the whore sitteth are peoples, multitudes, and nations. See, the whore of the Catholic Church sits on top and rules over peoples, nation, kings, okay, and multitudes and tongues, so over the whole world. But it says this, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore. They turn on her, they start hating her, and they say, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. So this is the end of the Catholic Church. For Yah hath put it in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast until the words of Yah shall be fulfilled. So this great city comes down and it gets burned. It says so in 18:9. And the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her shall bewail her and lament for her when they shall see the smoke of her burning. standing afar off with the fear of torment, saying, Alas, alas, that great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come. So she's going to be made desolate. There's going to be a great millstone around her neck. She's going to be burned with fire, and her flesh is going to be eaten like barbecue. And so this evil system is coming to an end, and this is a sign of the beginning of these things. May you be blessed, and may you prepare your hearts and your minds for the new kingdom. In Yahshua's name we pray. Hallelujah.